Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's another great day to discuss other people's excellence. I am the unforgettable one himself, Mr. Brett Carroll, and I'm just a guy that likes BSing at work. Okay, once again, you know what I'm gonna say. It's mock draft season, and you say, Brett, you say it every time now. What's wrong with you? But this is it. This is it. There are people that will sit there and tell you, and I know because I read it in the comments every time I post one of these, and I see it in the comments when I see other mock drafts. And they say mock drafts are stupid and pointless until after free agency. All this is meaningless until after free agency. Well, guess what, baby? Free agency is here. So it's a great week to do a mock draft because all the major players are off the board. There's only like literally like a handful. When I say a handful, like less than five major players still on the board as we speak. Most of the other ones have already picked a team or went back to a team or whatever. So obviously no more Miles Garrett trades. He went back. Um, as of this recording, literally just a couple, like maybe like 45 minutes ago, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase got re-signed with the Bengals, so that's done. We don't gotta speculate about that anymore. We're literally just waiting for Aaron Rodgers. What else is new? So yeah, man, I'm excited about this. Free agency is always a great week because obviously it's the start of the new year and all these exciting moves happen. But it's also my birthday week, so I had a great birthday this week. Super excited to be 33. I'm blessed. I had a great time with my family all weekend. And I only bring that up because my birthday is always on the week of free agency for football, so it's always easy for me to line this stuff up. And I will never leave you with a mock draft on free agency again. For those of the OGs of the channel, you might remember a couple years ago, I had the unmitigated gall, the audacity to go away on vacation for my birthday. How dare I go celebrate my birthday during free agency period for the NFL? How dare I? My 30th, no less, for shame. And I said, don't worry about it. Mitch Trubisky's the number one free agent. Who cares? If I even feel like covering it, I'll cover it when I get back. Nothing's gonna happen. Deshaun Watson and Devontae Adams both got traded that week. And everybody's like, yo, Brad, why aren't you covering this? Why aren't you covering this? And I'm like, I'm not even in the country, guys. God forbid, I'm celebrating my 30th birthday. So no, I've learned my lesson. If I ever do go on vacation again for my birthday, I have to at least like bring a laptop or something in case something crazy happens during the first week of free agency period. So I didn't go anywhere this week. I stayed home, but I still had a wonderful time. And again, some craziness has happened. So let's get into it. We're gonna do a mock draft, only a two-rounder this time. And also, I did things differently. I actually went ahead and did the mock draft and wrote down all the moves. Because last time I did like half scripted, half not, and I didn't like the format of that. I think it was just way too all over the place, and like the runtime was way too long, and there was a lot of dead space that I had to go back, and I even tried to like eliminate a lot of the big ones. It was still just a lot. So I'm gonna try this scripted one and just see how it looks. And if you guys don't like it, we could go back to the full live ones because I do like doing the live mock draft so you can see my process in real time. But I already did this two-rounder. I wrote down all the moves. I'm about to redo it. And this way I can just do the pick and just explain my thought process. And hopefully it's just a lot smoother this time. And a lot less dead space that I have to edit slash you guys have to watch because I know that's not, good content. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so we're gonna start here with the first pick in the draft. I'm gonna go ahead and take Cam Ward. I know we've been talking about flip-flopping and going back and forth, back and forth. I just feel like they didn't bring a quarterback in. If actually they lost Mason Rudolph, Um, I think they're going. I just think they're going to take Cam Ward here. I think that's the direction they're going to go in, and so yeah, we're going to go ahead and do it. Let's just do the Cam Ward thing. At number two, I'm actually going to take Shador. When Miles Garrett re-signed, a lot of people were laughing because it was like, oh, I want to win, I want to win. But then they gave him 40 million a year and he stayed and he's still talking about it wasn't about the money, I want to win. And people were laughing at that. I laughed at it too, let's be honest. Who doesn't love laughing at the Browns, especially as a Steelers fan? But I have to believe that they sold him on a plan. And I believe that plan is Shador. A lot of people were also laughing because the next day they traded for Kenny Pickett, and a lot of people were laughing, oh my God, that was the plan, Kenny Pickett. No, I don't think Kenny Pickett was the plan, nor do I even think Wilson will be the plan. I think those are options that they're exploring because you have to explore them. But I honestly think it's Shador here. Otherwise, it'll be Abdul Carter, which I can see. Maybe their plan was if we could get Russell Wilson, we'll go Abdul Carter and we'll have two, hopefully, defensive player of the year caliber edge rushers and have the best edge rush duo in football. I gotta be honest with you, and this is where I do kind of call BS on Miles Garrett a little bit. Listening to like watching some of his interviews over the years and stuff like that, it's obvious he wants all the accolades. He wants to be recognized as an all-time great. He likes to be in the spotlight. I have a hard time believing that he stayed because he's going to get paired up with Abdul Carter. Even though that would make his job easier, I don't know. And maybe, and I don't know him. I don't want to be that guy, but a part of me just has a hard time believing that he wants to share the spotlight with an Abdul Carter. I think if he came back and he liked the plan, I think he likes the plan of they really believe in Shador and they really believe Shador is their long-term future at quarterback. And not to mention they already have a good defense. So like, you know what I mean? They need a quarterback. So I'm going to take Shador here, and that's the plan for the Browns. The New York Giants, let me just try here. The New York Giants, a lot of people probably think I'm going to go Travis Hunter. I'm actually not. I'm actually going to go Abdul Carter here. The reason being, I truly believe that they are going to get either Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson. And even though they re-signed Darius Slayton, but they probably still could use Travis Hunter as a wide receiver. However, when you're in the same division as Jalen Hurts and Jalen Daniels, or Jalen Daniels, I'm sorry, and Dak, I do think, and the Giants are very old school in their thinking. They want to win in the trenches. And you stop some of those high-powered offense and some of those high-powered quarterbacks by being able to rush the passer. They have a pretty good defensive line already. However, Kayvon Thibodeau hasn't really panned out as the elite edge rusher that they hoped they were getting when they signed him. He hasn't been a bust, but he also hasn't been great. If you get a guy like Abdul Carter, hopefully that makes everybody better. And if not, it makes it easier to move off of a Kayvon Thibodeau because this year would be his third year. So after this year, they got to make a decision that they're going to pick up his fifth year option, right? So I do like getting Abdul Carter because if they're kind of over the Kayvon Thibodeau experiment, Abdul Carter is somebody that you can plug in and now automatically he just elevates that defensive line. Um, and so yeah, that's just my thought process with that. So I went Abdul Carter. The Patriots, this was a pick I sat with for a long time and try to figure out what I want to do. I really think it's gonna go between Will Campbell and T-Mac. I know they got Moses Malone, I think his name is in free agency, but he's an older tackle. So that's not necessarily like the future of the position for them. They can still get a guy that could, a guy like Will Campbell could come in, play guard right away, and then move to tackle. But the reason why, ended up with T-Mac is because they've been very aggressive in terms of trying to find a receiver. They were all in on T. Higgins. Obviously, like I said, he just got franchised and re-signed, so he's not going anywhere. They were in on DK Metcalf. They were in on Deebo Samuel. They want a big time receiver. And so for me, and not only that, they seem to want a taller receiver, somebody that Drake May could just throw up to and give him a big target to throw to. So I wanted T-Mac. With that being said, I wanted to trade down because I'm like, oh, well, Travis Hunter is here. But I was just trying to figure out what made the most sense in terms of a trade down. Like, to me, the Panthers made a lot of sense, but the Patriots already stole Milton Williams from up under their noses. I doubt the Panthers would want to trade up with them. You know what I mean? It's like a double slap to the face. Because I wanted the Panthers to trade up with them to get like Mason Graham or even Travis. But again, like I just felt like the Panthers wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? Like you stole the player that we wanted from under our noses in the 11th hour. We're not going to also then trade with you. You know what I mean? So I didn't do that. The Jags kind of made sense, but it's like if you know the Patriots aren't about to take Travis Hunter, why would you trade up one spot? Um, the Raiders kind of made sense, but at the end of the day, I just nothing really made sense to me. And then I think even when I did the trade simulator at the time, the Raiders weren't one of those picks. So I was like, eh. I just stayed and picked T-Mac because again, I think they want a big body receiver, and so that's what they were able to do uh for Drake May. And then Travis Hunter is gonna go here to the Jaguars. Um, for the reasons I just spoke about. They want a receiver, they need a corner. He does both. I think they'll let him play both. I think that will be somebody that can help get butts and seats. I've talked about this every mock. Travis for me is very interesting because I really don't know. It seems like he wants to try to play both. I just don't know what teams are going to allow that. And if you are a team that's going to allow that, I think you're more want to do it for the entertainment portion of it because football wise, it doesn't make sense, right? In a physical sport like football, even though I know a lot of physicality has been taken out of the game, it's still a contact sport, right? I don't want any of my players playing both ways, especially somebody I'm drafting in the top five. If I'm trying to win, because if he's an important player to me winning, I just don't see that being good long term. But if I'm a team that kind of is in the bottom of the league with attendance, and I know the entertainment aspect of it will help, and we're not winning right now. You see where I'm getting at? And again, they do need a receiver and they do need corner help. So him playing both actually works out in that way. So that's what I did. Okay. So with the Raiders, and boom, right here, they already have it. I had the Panthers trade up. And this said I only had to give up pick 111 to do it. Come on. And same thing here. So that's what I did. And I had them to go ahead and take Mason Graham. I know they just signed, I think I just signed one of the Rams defensive tackles. Um, but they still want a long-term answer at that defensive interior position. Again, they struck out on Milton Williams. Getting Mason Graham here would be phenomenal. I keep telling you that's my dream pick for the Panthers. Put him next to Derrick Brown, and now all of a sudden your defensive line, which was terrible last year, becomes phenomenal. And this is a really good edge rushing class. You can get edge rushers later in the later rounds to fill those gaps alongside the defensive line, but that interior of the line has to be a priority. For the Jets, I had them go ahead and take Armand Membu here. Again, they need offensive line help. They just got Justin Fields. Congratulations to him. You want to be able to protect him. You want to be able to give him the best chance to be successful, and you do that here. Um, and then here at eight. I had the Raiders take Matthew Golden again after the draft. I mean, I'm sorry, after the combine. I think he's my new wide receiver too. And they need weapons for Geno. They have a decent offensive line already. They have what's my boy's name? Lord Brock Bowers, the tight end. Get some more weapons. Get some more weapons. If T Mac was here, I would have taken T Mac. But with him off the board, you get the trade down and you still get the receiver you want. I love it. At number nine, I had a trade. And with this trade, I had the Dallas Cowboys moving up. And what did I give up? I gave up pick 76. Uh, and again, it's so funny. Every simulator is different. So in the last one, they had the Cowboys wanting to do this trade, so I didn't have to force any trades. This time I have to force it. But I have them coming up to take Will Campbell. Um, uh, Now that old boy retired, the offensive line is pivotal. You could put Will Campbell in there at guard, and he'll be your next great Dallas Cowboy in interior. They love their interior linemen. They value the position a lot. Go ahead and put him in there, and now you're good. Okay, Chicago at 10. They were aggressive in free agency. They got their interior offensive line situated. They went and got oh man, I can't remember the guy's name. Jarrett from Atlanta for the defensive line. So now I feel very comfortable in them taking Ashton Jenny here. Genty here. Again, the offensive line is now no longer an issue. You took care of it in free agency. Go get a playmaking running back that's going to complement that offense and help Caleb Williams. And that's the type of system that Ben Johnson was to run anyway. I love it. Uh San Francisco here at 11. I have them taking Will Johnson. They lost a lot of talent in their secondary. Will Johnson to me is still corner one. You get him here. Perfect value. The Saints, now that they traded back, they go ahead and take Shamar Stewart, right? Yep, Shamar Stewart. I think he's kind of the type of pass rusher that they like, and they need to get that defensive line together. And so here we go. The Dolphins at 13, they go offensive line. They desperately need it, and they're going to go Josh Simmons. All right. Indiana, they were amazing in free agency. They were super aggressive. They got a lot of their positions out the way in free agency. So now they can go ahead and take Tyler Warren here. I know that's kind of like the unsexy pick for Colts fans. And, every single mock draft has them taking it, but it makes so much sense. They literally put themselves in a position where this is the only glaring need that they have left, at least in terms of first round talent. That makes sense. You go ahead and take Tyler Warren. Okay, at 11, at 15, I should say. Atlanta is on the clock, and they are going to go ahead and take Michael Williams. They need edge help, and Michael Williams is one of the best. So let's go ahead and do it. Arizona was also really good in free agency. They got a lot of their needs taken care of, but they still have, a lot more needs to go. I like Jade Barron here. Um, They got a lot of that defensive line help in free agency. So let's start working on the secondary. Cincinnati. Like I said, congratulations to them. They got their two weapons re-signed. And so the offense is good, or at least the weapons department is good. Now they need to protect their quarterback, right? Because uh, if Joe Burrow can't stay healthy, then all this is for naught. So I have them taking Tyler Booker here. Make sure they get that line together. because everything else now needs to be the trenches. That's what I wanted them to do. Get their guard down, and the rest of the draft is now defense, 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 because they can't stop nobody and they can't protect from no against anybody. So fix the line with that first pick, and now go defense the rest of the draft. Seattle. They also, well, they went and got Sam Darnold, and they're gonna need somebody to protect him. I like Gray Zabel here. He could play center, he could play guard, he could play tackle, he could play all over the place. A lot of people think he might be an all-pro center, so there you go. You take him there, and you're good to go. Tampa Bay, they take Jahad Campbell. They also did really good in free agency, taking care of a lot of their needs on defense. But linebacker, I believe, is still something they need to fix. So we go ahead and do that. Denver, they went and got Evan Ingram, so they don't need a tight end anymore, but they can still use a wide receiver, and I'm gonna go ahead and take Luther Burden. Um, I I like Emeka Buka better, but they want more of an outside guy, and I really think Ibuka is way more slot only, whereas Luther Burden I can at least see playing on the outside, and so therefore we're gonna go ahead and do that. Okay, the Steelers. I am praying that we hurry up and just sign either Rodgers or Russell Wilson. I'm going to lose my mind if we take a quarterback. I'm going to lose my mind if we take a quarterback. Again, the OGs know I didn't want Kenny Pickett. Speaking of 3 years ago, I did not want Kenny Pickett. I did not want a quarterback in that draft class. I do not believe in reaching on a quarterback when you need a quarterback, especially because if you miss on that pick, it sets you back. And here we are. This draft class is considered worse than that draft class was. And so for me, I don't even care if Cam Ward or Shador Sanders falls here to 21, right? Remember, Kenny Pickett was supposed to be in the top five in that draft class, and he didn't go to 20, right? Do not make the same mistake twice. Just sign one of these guys, get it over with. Pick anything. I'll take a running back here. I'll take anything else. Just do not take a quarterback. Please, for the love of God, do not take a quarterback here. Instead, the way the board fell to me, I really, really, really like the ability here to trade down, and that's what I'm gonna do. Um, and the trade down that I had the first time, where is it? They only gave us 124, and I'm okay with that. That gives us back-to-back picks in the fourth round. And they and the Green Bay Packers are trading up to take Emeka Ibuka. I know they're them drafting a wide receiver in the first round. Never. At some point, they got to do it, right? At some point, you got to do it. You have your franchise quarterback. You need a receiver. Don't be stupid. Go ahead and get the receiver, especially in a class that's not as good. Waiting till the second round would be suicide. You need a legit number one receiver. You're not getting that in the second round of this draft. You're just not. So there we go. The Colts, they go ahead and they get their guy, Colston Loveland, uh, their tight end to pair up with Lad McConkey as their uh weapon of choice. Okay, the Steelers back on the clock, and originally I had to take somebody, but I saw that teams wanted to trade up, and I looked at the trade up partners and I said, I kind of like the idea of making this trade. So I traded back with the Houston Texans. Again, the board right now is falling perfectly for us for what we want slash need. And with the Texans, they gave up 89 because they didn't really have much to give up at the time that we would actually want. Because they don't have that many picks. And so they gave up 89 and they were able to, what did I have them do? Oh, yeah. They got rid of their entire offensive line, basically. Offensive line that wasn't that good to begin with, But now they have, if it wasn't a need before, it's definitely a need now. So they go ahead and trade up and get Calvin Banks to make sure they get some offensive line help. And what's great about this is they can move him inside the guard at first, and solidify that line. You got to protect your franchise quarterback. Okay, so the Vikings have also been super aggressive, and I love that, which gives them the opportunity to do this, taking Amari and Hampton here at 25 or 24, I should say, and giving JJ McCarthy a beast of a running back to work with, along with that awesome receiving core. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, and then with the Steelers trading back twice, you see they still get their guy and Kenneth Grant. I love now if this happened in the draft, I would absolutely be all, head over heels in love with it. The board kind of just fell to me that way this time, and they get their guy. Again, you don't do this move and if you don't have all the defensive interiors at your disposal, to me, that's the pick. It has to be. It has to be defensive interior. It has to be defensive interior. Um, and I know we just signed a dude from the Patriots, I think today, as of this recording. But still, you need defensive line help. And so getting Kenneth Grant is a great piece to do that, to work forward. Okay, the Rams. They go ahead and they obviously they got Matt Stafford back. They made some moves as well, but they go ahead and take who did I have them take? Oh, they go ahead and take Ben Morrison. I don't know why PFF is dropping him like this, but that is disgusting in my opinion. He's still corner two in my book on my board, and so the Rams get him here. The Baltimore Ravens, they go ahead and they take Josh Connerly to fortify that offensive line and help them move forward. He could play guard at first, and then when you're ready to move him at the tackle, you can do that. Detroit, I love this pick for them. They go ahead and take Nick Scorton. Again, I just think he fits the way they want to rush the passer and will be a really good complement to Aiden Hutchinson on the other side. Washington, super aggressive this offseason. Love it. Absolutely love it. And they're going to go ahead and they're going to take James Pierce Jr., a guy that many forget going into the year, he was supposed to be a top five pick. He still might have top five talent. Getting him at 29 is a steal. And I love that pick for him. Buffalo, they're going to go ahead and take Mike Green. These guys kind of fell for like quote unquote character reasons. And so them dropping to good teams that have a really good locker room, and it's so insane that we're already calling Washington a good team with a good locker room, but them dropping to these teams, I feel more comfortable, right? They got some veterans in there. They have a good thing going. They have some good coaches that I respect that I think will make sure they're on the up and up. And that way you just get the talent and you can just deal with the talent. And again, these are guys that are probably top 10 talent wise, right? And so I love the fit. Um, Kansas City, they traded Toomey away. They traded they need to get some offensive line help. And so I'm gonna have them go ahead and take Donovan Jackson and put him on the line again, a guy that that could probably play guard for them for now. And then when they're ready, can move him out to tackle. Unless they get another tackle and then he could just stay at guard. And then Philly, Howie Roseman, once again, just oops, not tackle, sorry. Just letting the talent fall in his lap. Walter Nolan sitting here. They lost a lot of guys on that defensive line, and they're going to replenish, and they're going to be just fine. Walter Nolan's the pick for Philly. Okay, start of the second round, and I had the Browns take Donovan Azaraku. Again, just best player available to me, and I do think there is something to pairing Myles Garrett with another star edge rusher, but this is a guy that might not take the shine away from Myles Garrett, where Abdul Carter might be the shiny new toy. You see what I mean? So I do like that. Um, the Giants here, I think they go ahead and take Jackson Dart. Even if they get a Russell Wilson, I do think they're going to want a quarterback for the future. You can't really depend on Russell Wilson to be your savior this year if you're uh Joe Sheen and Brian Daboll, but having a Jackson Dart that you could probably plug in towards the end of the year, especially if things aren't going well, that could help save your job. I talked about it last time, right? And so I like this for them in this scenario, getting a Russell Wilson so they don't have to reach for a quarterback at three, but go ahead and take one here in the second round and try your luck there. Tennessee, I had them trade back with Chicago for pick 148. Boom. And with that pick, I had Chicago take Malachi Starks. I love it. A guy that really could be a top 15 pick. You're getting him in the second round, and you still have another second round pick to play with. Again, a free agency period that is just great if you're a Bears fan. Okay, Jacksonville. I have them taking Eric Alamaner. Uh, I talked about this last time. Their new head coach probably wants a Mike Evans type of player. And even though Brian Thomas is a bigger receiver, he's not quite Mike Evans. Eric Allen is a big, tall receiver who could play that style for them. And then, like I said, this also allows you with a Travis Hunter, play him mostly at corner, but also sprinkle him into the offense as a wide receiver. That way you have that healthy balance. And again, it's another weapon for Trevor Lawrence to use. Um, the Raiders, I had them go ahead and go running back here with Quinshon Junkins. Again, just giving more weapons. You know, Pete Carroll likes to run the ball. Now they have a running back that that could be their workhorse back, and they got weapons on the outside. Everything's starting to look good. All right, the Patriots, they go offensive line since we passed on it in the first round. There we go. Urcher again, a guy that you can do the same thing. You could probably plug him in at guard first. And then once you move on from Moses Malone, you could put him to the outside. He could be your tackle of the future. All right, Tennessee, now that they traded back, I wanted them to go get a weapon, and that is Jaden Higgins. And again, you were able to trade back and still get the guy you wanted. New Orleans. I wanted to give them a receiver. I just didn't like the receivers left at the time. So I went go ahead and got them Caleb Johnson, a guy that should complement Alvin Kamara really well. Um, and that way they could run the offense the way they want to run it. And Derek Carr could work off the play action, which where I think he'd be a lot better. Chicago, they go ahead and now they take Darius Alexander. Again, I know they just got Jared from Atlanta, but they can still use some more help on that interior defensive line, and he'll be more of their edge rusher, or I'm sorry, defensive end type. The Jets, I had them trade back, and this time I'm gonna have to force it. Again, last time I used picks of teams that they were suggesting would want to trade up. So obviously it's so funny when you do the simulator again, even though you're doing the same picks, it's not the same results in terms of what teams want. Uh, so I had them, they're getting 119, but then the Jets sent 186 back. And so boom, and actually I didn't even have to force it. And with that pick, Cincinnati took Derek Harmon again, getting that defensive line going. You know what I mean? They have to get better on the defensive line. San Francisco, I had them also trade back. And wow, boom, same thing. Buffalo, that was the team I had them trade back for pick 109. Yep. And with that pick, they go ahead and get Jalen Walker. Again, a guy that could probably be drafted as high as like 8 to the Panthers. Well, obviously the Panthers traded up in this, but still, a guy that's like a top 10 pick. You're getting him in the second round. That's awesome. And then Dallas, I had them trade back. So I had three trade backs in a row. Um, and this one was with the Falcons. So just a very short trade back. And they did 118, but then Dallas gave 204 back. Uh, yep. Boom. And Atlanta goes ahead and takes Demetrius Knight. Boom. Get him that linebacker help that they need. Again, that defense needed help, and they're able to do that with their first two picks. Okay, Indianapolis. They did lose one of their offensive linemen, and so here they will go ahead and address that by getting Tate Ratledge, fortifying that line. Dallas, they were able to trade back. And I had them take Zach Beck. I feel like that's a player that they would like. It's a feel not only is he a feel good story, he's a really good player. And I think he complements what CeeDee Lamb does. CeeDee Lamb's going to be more the explosive number one receiver. Zach Beck is going to be more like the reliable number two possession receiver. And I think that's what they're going to like about him in this offense. Okay, Arizona, they're gonna go ahead and take Tyreek Williams. Again, I know they did some things in free agency with that defensive line, but they literally needed like everything on the defensive line. So getting Tyreek Williams here is good, and he was the best player available, so it made a lot of sense. And then Miami, I had them take TJ Sanders. Again, you kind of did the offensive line thing, and I didn't want to double dip at offensive line because the value just wasn't there. So getting some help on the defensive line to me was a good choice. And the Jets are also going to go defensive line, and this worked out because they were able to trade back and still address the need and get Alfred Collins. So three defensive linemen come off the board back to back to back. All right, so Seattle, I had them trade back with, and it's so funny. So I have them trading back with Carolina, and again, like I said, every simulator is different. When I was doing this, I was checking trades every time just to make sure because I wanted to see if I could trade back. Well, one, if I'm, you know, to full transparency, I wanted to see if the Steelers had a chance to sneak back in the second round, especially since we traded back twice with those extra picks. But also just to see, what trades could be done. For whatever reason, every single pick they had the Carolina Panthers as a team that wanted to trade up. Every single one, every single one, every single one. And I was like, what do the Panthers want that they're so aggressive in this mock? And it's so funny that again, they're not even listed as a team in this one. Um, and so I looked at it and I said, well, what makes sense is maybe corner, maybe edge. And I went with corner because again, the edge class is just deeper in my opinion, although the corners are falling in in this particular mock. But I said, go get a corner because you can still get some edge later on. So I had Carolina pick, they're going to send 74, but then they're going to get 82 back. And so with that, I had them take Trey Amos from Mississippi. Boom. And then I had back-to-back trades again. Because for some reason in the last mock, Houston really wanted to trade up. I said, okay, Houston, if y'all want to trade up so bad, let's do it. So where are they? Oh, here we go. So I had Houston trade up with Denver for pick 166. It ain't have to give too much. It was a very short trade. Well, not very short, but it's a short trade. And I actually had them double dip on the Texas tackles. So I have them taking Cam Williams. Again, they got rid of both of their guards. What I like about this is these are two guys that can play guard first, and then if they need to, one, if not both of them, could be their tackles of the future. Um, and so yeah, I love that. And again, they're both from Texas, so I'm sure they have plenty of tape on them. I'm sure they're very familiar with them. So trading up twice, I believe they traded up in the first round as well, right? They traded with the Steelers, I believe. Yeah. So they traded up twice, both in both rounds to get two offensive linemen. And again, I love it. Protect your franchise quarterback. So I love that. Okay, at 20, Seattle stays there and they go ahead and take another offensive lineman because they need it. And Jonah Savaiya, boom. Tampa Bay, I saw Xavier Watts here and I was like, you know what? I kind of like it. So we go ahead and do that. Green Bay, they trade down with the Kansas City Chiefs, and they get pick 95. And the Chiefs trade up to get Marcus Bowe. Again, just making sure that offensive line is secure. They have to protect Patrick Mahomes at all costs. We saw what happened in the Super Bowl. The two Super Bowl losses that they have is for literally because their offensive line couldn't hold up. As plain as that. So you got to get that offensive line together. Okay, and then the Chargers, they go ahead and they go get a receiver and Trey Harris. So now you have Lad McConkey, you have Colston Level, you have Trey Harris. You still have Lord, what's old boy from TCU who you know what I'm talking about. The guy that can't catch. They still have him who they're developing, but now you have a nice little receiving core, man. I like that. I like that a lot. San Francisco, I originally had them goal line. But when I saw that this dude was still on the board, I said, how do we not do this? Again, they did lose a lot of their secondary, including their safety. So I took Nick Emorari, again, a guy that was really getting first round buzz, but in this particular mock draft, he just fell. So you go ahead. Seattle, uh, I went and took Jalen Noel. I know they have JSN already. But I just felt like they needed some type of receiving help, and I didn't like any of the other receivers at the time. So maybe one of them can play on the outside. Well, no, JSN plays on the outside, so Jalen Noel could replace Tyler Lockett in the slot, and again give Sam Darnold two guys to throw the ball to. Because again, besides JSN, the receivers are gone now. Okay, at 26, this is where I finally had the Steelers able to sneak back in. Um, Especially with Baltimore picking next. I wanted the Steelers to go ahead and be able to get the guy that they needed. What did I do? I gave up 156 and 229. Yeah, to move up, and they took a corner that they desperately need. This is where, again, they did so well with that DK trade. And then I was so happy, but I was happy for like less than 12 hours because after that first day of free agency, I'm like, what are we doing? We missed out on a lot of corners and we got Darius Slay, but like, again, that's a band-aid. He's gonna be there for a year. And let's just hope he's even good this year. So I have him take Revel. Again, my corner three. I know he's dropped for many of reasons, but getting him here at 58 to me is a steal. And we traded back twice. So again, we still have a third round pick to play with. I know we just got rid of one third round pick. We still have two fourth round picks to play with. So yeah, I like that. I like that pick a lot. The Ravens, they're not that upset about it though, because they go ahead and they take Maxwell Hairston. So if you're the Steelers, you're just trading up to make sure you get the corner that you want. And Baltimore, again, I think it's perfectly fine. The way the board fell, I think the Ravens were fine taking whatever corner was left. So they're not too upset about it. Detroit, I had them getting Chris Paul Jr. Again, just fortifying that defense, making sure that they have some health. One, just getting some healthy bodies for next year. Um, the Commanders, they go ahead and they take Darian Porter, and then Buffalo, they say thank you very much, and they take Azariah Thomas, two teams that need corner help, and so they're again the way the corners fell in this particular mock, it worked out for the teams that needed the corners. Uh, and so yeah, that's how that worked out. And then Green Bay at 31, they take Princely Umialelen. So again, kind of a reverse. Instead of going defense and then offense, take the offensive guy first because you know there's going to be plenty of defensive talent here for you to pick from in the second round. And again, let's look at the receivers. Who are they taking? Who are they taking here that you feel good about with this pick? Nobody. You know what I mean? So I think they have to take a receiver in the first round. Uh, and so, and then once again, like I said, Philadelphia, they're chilling. Look at this, Shamar Turner right here. We lost all everybody on the defensive line. No, we didn't. We're gonna get him right back. The rich get richer. What can I say? But that is the mock draft. And look at that. It took like less than an hour. 2 rounds in less than an hour. So you guys tell me if this is the format you want to do, I'll do this from now on when we do these mock drafts. If you like more of the live style so that we can kind of you could really see my thought process, we can go back to doing that. I'm definitely not going to do the hybrid model because I thought that was just all over the place. But yeah, anyway, I like this draft for a lot of teams. Yeah, free agency did put a lot of things in perspective, so I definitely am grateful that we're here in the mock draft process because some of these picks are a lot easier now that you know that some other needs are already filled in. So it's a lot more streamlined this way. But yeah, anyway, that's the video. You can find us at the dope blog, the underscore dope blog on Instagram and threads, the dope blog all one word on Twitter. Our website is the dope.blog. You can find me that never forget me. That's NEVA underscore the number four BRETT underscore ME. Because you're watching this on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe. And join us next time as we continue to discuss other people's excellence. Deuces.